world? Great to be back with you guys after a couple of weeks out on official OH.Report soccer duty. Yours truly is back here in the driver's seat at the commands, and very much looking forward to going over all the different sporting activities that we got going down right here in North Central Ohio. I am Brian Skronsky. What a great time of year, of course, that this is. We've got the playoff footballs that are starting to warm up. We got state championships on the way. For volleyball, we got 4 teams in our coverage area still competing. They're going down to Dayton this weekend. We're going to have a whole crew down there as well. And then for soccer, too, a couple of games popped up in our backyard, so we're not done just yet for the beautiful game here on the OH.Report, teaming up with NFHS Network. We'll talk a bit more about that here a little bit later in the show as well. And plus, what a weekend for the smiling young chap over here to my left, Mr. Travis Big League Berardi. A true victory Monday for you, my friend.
Sir.
Steelers defense looked good.
It's about time.
You got on the West Virginia fit.
About time.
Boy, upset victory for them.
Mountaineers 2-6 go into Houston against the 7-1 21st ranked Houston Cougars. Had a chance, maybe a Big 12 championship game, a spot in the playoff. No more, my friend. The Mountaineers go in there. Their defense causes 4 turnovers. They win by 10 points. And now our bowl chances are still alive. We got the down and out Colorado Buffaloes coming into Morgantown this Saturday, and then Arizona State, a big game, will finish out the season at home as well. But there's still a chance that we could get to the bowl game. That's all I wanted. Beat Pitt. We did that. Amazing game. Make a bowl game, and it'll be a successful first year for Rich Rodriguez. Wouldn't be the way we thought they could do it, but hey, there's still a chance of getting that bowl game. And then the Steelers, I was telling you, I was actually playing skip bow in the morning on a choo-choo train.
The world's greatest car game.
First ever time I rode a train up at the Cuyahoga National Park. If you ever want to do something like that, they're actually switching over to the Polar Express now. So, get on your pajamas, take the kids up there, do the Polar Express thing. But that was a fun trip. Played some skip bow, like I said, but then we went up to a couple breweries up in Cleveland bye week. So, hey, kind of a victory Monday for the Browns fans. Nobody got hurt on the off week apparently yet, so things like that. But then I watched the Steelers. I'm not gonna get my hopes up. The Colts are just a juggernaut. They're just rolling right now. Who knows? The first drive, they just go down and score. I'm like, I need another, sir. Please bring me another beverage. And then after that, the defense just looked like what we were expecting. 6 turnovers. 4 sacks. Aaron Rodgers did his thing on offense. We're looking like that Steeler team that I thought. It's truly a victory Monday for me, and kind of one for you too. No losses by the Browns. Buckeyes Monday. Big win.
Buckeyes look great. And so, of course, where we're projecting our teams in terms of just one trying to get into the playoffs, the other thinking that we're going to be the number 1 seed going into the college football playoffs again, the defending champs. And we'll talk a little bit about the Buckeyes later in the show and just what they were able to do against Penn State. And what I thought was so amusing and interesting is that before the season started, before week 1 actually happened with Texas, me and a couple of my friends were talking like we should go to one Buckeye game this year. We all kind of circled that Penn State game. It was at the time number 2 versus number 3, and the nosebleed section, those tickets were going for about 9 honey buns a pop. And then if you actually wanted to see the game, it was going to be more like $1,500. We're like, why don't we just pump the brakes? We'll wait and see how things go. They could not give away those tickets on Saturday, so man, am I glad that we held off on that. And for those of you that put them for sale before the season, man, you really made out quite well. So we'll break down the Buckeye game. Just my quick thoughts on Jim Knowles coming back to Columbus later in the show. Also, we've got pro soccer rookie elite athlete Taylor Huff is going to be calling in. She just wrapped up her rookie campaign yesterday. And so we're going to hear from her thoughts on being a pro, getting paid to play the beautiful game. Now, she used to get them NIL bucks, but now it's real dinero for her. The top plays in the Friday Night Phenoms, of course, from week number 11, jam-packed per usual. Actually had to kick out a couple of top plays. It's always tough to narrow them down, and especially this time of year when there's more impact and every big play that happens, particularly at the end of halves, end of games, it just feels like it's got a bit more cachet with it. And we'll recap a bit of the Elite 8 runs for Mansfield Christian, the greatest season in program history. Jesse's Girls made a nice run. So we'll talk about that. And then the Ontario Lady Warriors, they get to the Elite 8, and they were this flipping close from getting to the state Final Four in overtime loss.
Every Ontario team, we were this close. I mean, it's just questionable. And not getting into it. Not ripping into refs tonight, but we'll continue on with.
I will. Coming soon.
Yeah.
But first, let's talk about
playoffs.
The high school footballs, baby, because that's right. The playoffs are here. Week number 11, pretty cool. The new format, Travis. And what I like about it is now that we flip the script and everybody that is still involved with the top 4 teams getting a bye in week number 11, it feels like there's a whole new energy around the whole thing. So we'll have to play it out and just kind of get a feel for this. The first year OHSAA is going with the 12 teams in the new bracket, but so far so good. I like it, and we got a lot of brackets that we want to break down. So let's begin first with Division 2, Region 7. A couple of teams we got still participating out there, including the number 1 team, the Golden Eagles of Big Walnut, coming off a bye. And I think that everybody is curious about coaching. How well prepared are you keeping your team when they had nothing to look forward to last Friday night except for maybe a team gathering at a B-Dubs or something, watching OH.Report streams? How are they going to look coming back after a 14-day layoff?
I mean, the way Big Walnut has been running, it's going to be I actually don't know, because this is the first year for any of our top 4 seeds. We had 7 or 8, I believe, teams with buys this year, but it is going to be interesting because this is the first year of having this. But I mean, Big Walnut is so good. They have so many playmakers that I think it's just going to help them, because it gives them, if they do what they're supposed to, if they rest, they still go over some things. If they watch the Walnut Ridge Kilbourne game, and they can get something off of that because they already played Kilbourne this year.
And that was a wild game.
They beat them 35-20, so at least they have something to go off of, the extra scouting from that. But I mean, some of these teams that you'll see, I think just the bye benefits them just to stay healthy, have a chance to scout, and have that extra game for them. But Big Walnut, I mean, I would not be surprised to see them easily get to a regional final. But on the bottom half of the bracket, what a performance by Nathan Bernhard and the Ashland Arrows against Mount Vernon. It was a record night. You'll see more from him in the Friday night Phenoms coming up, but he scored his 50th career rushing touchdown.
Beast mode.
He tied a school record 6 passing touchdowns. I've seen some other stats as well. They're just phenomenal from Mr. Doug Haydet. But Ashland going to St. Francis de Sales. And I was looking at St. Francis de Sales' record.
What'd you learn?
8-2? Well, they're 8-2, but their wins, a 7-4 Northland team. Okay, they beat an 8-3 Harrison squad, but those wins for Harrison are teams under 500. It just seems like the competition is okay for some of these top four teams. They've got in because of the seeding and whatnot, but I think Ashland has a solid chance to, what we think, move to Paul Brown Tiger Stadium for this regional semifinal and take on Massillon Washington. And what a game that would be if Washington's able to get past North Canton Hoover. But 2 favorable games for our teams in Region 7, I believe.
Yeah, Big Walnut, 9-game win streak, of course. They haven't dropped a game since that Bishop Watterson opening night game, and they gave them, so far, their best matchup of the season, the defending Division III champs. Ashland got a lot of momentum on their side. Walnut Ridge is an interesting team to me. They had given up like 50 points all year. They allowed Kilbourne to drop 42 on them, but they scored 58. Yeah. So that was an absolute shootout. I had a friend that was there and told me it was just a wild game. A lot of busted coverages, broken tackles, the whole 9 yards. You cannot do that against Nolan Burley and the boys. You will get torn to shreds by that running attack. And the Eagles, too, they've got the passing flow going right now as well with Stumpf. He's got a bunch of different targets. And a lot of guys starting to get their names thrown out there in the college level. Plenty of recruits out here for Big Walnut. So I think a big tournament run for them kind of solidifies kids getting college scholarships and not just any like D2, D3 where you're paying to play, and we're talking about some D1 prospects, buddy. So pretty cool to be latched on with them right now at the right time with their star ascending. So this is going to be a very fun region to keep an eye on. Massillon Washington is not the favorite according to some of the projections that I've seen. They've got this team, the number 1 team, as just that. knocked them off last year, of course, to win the regional.
Yes,
and it looks like they've got a good shot to get back to state.
Yeah, we're going to see. This is going to be bookended by two teams that last year we thought, hey, they could be good. They'll probably make a run in the playoffs, but they end up going to the Final Four in a state championship game. We'll talk about the Hillsdale Falcons later on, but almost everybody's back for both of those squads. And, you look down the line. Big Walnut last year ran through it, got to Massillon, Washington at Arlen Field, ran through them, and then lost a late game in the Final Four, which could have put them into the state championship game too. But, I could – wouldn't it be so great if it was in Burley versus Bernhard for a regional championship at probably Arlen Field?
Oh, OH.Report fans would be salivating. Looking forward to that one. Actually, for me personally, I want to see that Massillon Big Walnut rematch just because, that's the team with the most pedigree and cachet. You could really say in the state of Ohio. I mean, and Massillon's got the Tiger and the Paul Brown thing and the whole mystique and the whole 100-yard field house at the place. So I think that those two teams are kind of what I'm looking forward to at the end of the tunnel, but you can't count out Bernhard and the boys.
No.
Too many weapons, great
Best
passing
senior
attack.
class ever in the history of Ashland High School.
They've been great. They've been great. Best season for them. All right, let's take a look. What's that?
Who else is having the best season in Region 10?
Lexington?
The Lexington. I mean, what?
Are they having a good season?
I mean,
that's right.
Yeah, the OCC
They did get the
champs.
first round bye.
Yeah. They get a tough test.
Yeah. What a consolation prize for that. You win your league. You close it out with a whole bunch of wins in a row. Lexington has just been chopping up the competition since that loss to Shelby clear back in week 2. They've been undefeated since, Travis, and they've scored at least 40 points in their last 7 games. They put up 70 against North. The offense is clicking. The defense has been pretty good. They allowed 35 to Bernhard and the boys in week number 10. But this team, if they are playing to their full capabilities, I think they can hang around. They can have a shot to make some type of a play, force a turnover at the end of the game, and who knows, Lexington might be able to steal one. TCC's a much different beast.
Oh, they are.
Several people around the area are pretty familiar with them. Justin Wilson covered them last week, and they're a team that they don't seem like they're invincible like they have the last few years.
Yeah.
Just 6 wins for them during the regular season. You look at their schedule, it's ridiculous.
No, it's
they
nuts.
They played the best teams, of course, in Michigan and any comers all the way around. However, I think that this is going to be a good matchup, man, head-to-head. And don't be surprised if Lexington comes out on top. I certainly think that this game will be decided by 2 scores or less. No way do they get blown out.
Well, it's going to come down to turnovers. That's how Lexington was able to beat Ashland. Seven Allen. Not his offense, but his defense is going to be pivotal here. He had that pick 6 against Bernhard. It helped Lexington get that little bit of a buffer to win the OCC championship. They're going to need the turnover Toledo Central Catholic if they want to have a chance of winning. Toledo Central Catholic beat Ontario 35-0. Lexington 36-16 over them. So, I think they have the offense, absolutely have the offense with Caudill and Seven Allen and Fogel out there, but it's the defense that's going to be so pivotal in this game for the Minutemen.
Yeah, and you look at teams like Wapak, still undefeated. Travis Moyer, a lot of fans around the area very familiar with what he was able to do when he was at Winford. That team's a juggernaut. Medina Buckeye, they've been blitzing everybody so far too. So I don't think necessarily the winner of that TCC Lexington game you would look at and say that they would be a favorite to get out of here. Obviously, I think the top 2 seeds have earned it, and this will be a tough battle. Whoever emerges out of this region number 10, look for them to probably be the top contender to Bishop Watterson in Division III.
Well, also the winner of this Lexington-Toledo Central Catholic game is going to have a lot of momentum going into that semifinal, especially for Lexington. You knocked off Toledo Central Catholic.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And for Toledo Central Catholic, too, you're just the juggernaut that continues to run with a little bit of a lower seed because you lost to 2 10-0 Michigan teams. This is a lot for momentum going forward, and I wouldn't say they'd be maybe favored if it's Wapak, but they'll be in it at least before the game. People will say this could be a good one.
Maybe not so much the case, at least on paper, at least the way that people are talking. In D4 Region 14, according to a lot of the projections out there on the interwebs, and there are 2 different places that do these calculations that I love watching, but they have Shelby as the biggest favorite in any region out of the 28 to emerge and be victorious, move on to the state Final Four. You got to prove it out there on the field. We've had Orville on our networks over and over this season, the last 3 weeks. Love what I saw from them against Clear Fork for 3.5 quarters. Not so much the end of the game where the Colts got back into that one and they almost pulled off a victory at home. But that's going to be a fun matchup, and look for the winner of that game to be in the 40s for show.
Absolutely, but I got one name for you, and you've seen him.
Hit me.
Showed out last week.
Hit me.
Braylon McDuffie.
Difference maker.
He is week 1 against Worcester. The only way Worcester could stop him was by dragging him down. 3 pass interference penalties he was able to draw because he was just so easily able to get through the secondary. And then on defense, he lowered the boom, a huge clean hit on both sides. McDuffie has another Mick. His full name last name does not come to my mind at the moment, but another wide receiver cornerback. They have a very solid squad if they can put 4 quarters together. Now you have McDuffie, one of the top receivers in this area, but he's going against the top receiver in Brady Bowman and company. I mean, Shelby is favored. But if the running attack, the 2-headed monster, Pumneo and Hostetler, can control the pace, get 4 yards a carry, McDuffie can get that big play. They can keep it close. I think they can keep it close for at least a half. But Shelby's just too good, man. I mean, this is the best since a guy that's going to make an appearance in the second quarter on our call was quarterbacking them to a state Final Four against Steubenville.
Yeah, that's one Brennan Armstrong, but you're looking at number 2 in the Air Force commit and the 4-year starter and the guy who's going to finish near the top of the ranks in every quarterback statistical category that they created for signal callers.
He has my Mr. Ohio vote already.
That's Braden DeVito. I think the difference in this game, obviously Braden is going to do stuff like this. He's off script constantly, and he figures it out. Shelby's defense is so much better than Orville's that, to me, I think that we're going to get a bit of a shootout, but the Whippets outside of that game against Galleon, where they allowed them to roll up 30+, they're holding everybody else to 10 or less. And then Orville, every single night for them, they're just having to outscore the competition. They give up 4 touchdowns or more, a bunch, almost every single week
and
this
that's why
year.
I said they could probably stick with them for a half. They could probably get into a shootout for a half, but Shelby just has too many big pieces to that. And I mean, shout out Orville, the way they finished the season. They almost knock off Triway to get a 3-way tie for the PAC championship, and then they go to Clear Fork.
Yeah.
Clear Fork beat Perkins earlier this year. Perkins
Sure
is a 6th seed here, still playing. They knocked them off. They get to week number 12. I mean, at least it's an extra week of practice for some of these kids. But shout out Orville. I don't think they nearly have enough to take it to Shelby.
What I want to spotlight next, though, is potential upset alert. You might want to ring the horns for the Galleon Tigers. They are at home. They've got Cloverleaf coming to their place, and I know the Cloverleaf, they kind of stumbled their big toe a little bit down the stretch. They lost 3 out of 4 to close out the regular season, but Jacob Chambers broke his leg in the game against Clear Fork in week number 10. Their big play threat that you're going to see a whole bunch in these highlights, he is not going to be available. I like the Hay brothers a lot, but they're kind of guys that you can throw into the slot. They're quick little maneuvers. They cannot get loose down the sideline and do quite what Mr. Chambers was able to. So does that have that big of an impact where Mr. Schmidt can't really pepper it around to all of his favorite targets because now you don't have the number 1 threat out there on the field? The running attack's going to have to be good. I'll tell you this, though. Defensively, Matt Dick's team is going to be prepared. They are a hard-nosed squad that I really think can win the game for them. I feel like I don't know. I get a little bit antsy thinking about the Galleon offense out there without Chambers.
Well, this is something where the bye could help because they got that extra week to prepare without him to get that figured out. So that may benefit them there, but they may get by this week, but then you get either Perkins or Napoleon after that. That might be the upset alert for Gallion if they can't really get things together without Mr. Chambers, one of the top 10 receivers in the area, according to my stat leaders.
And how dangerous do the Pirates look right now? I mean,
that Clear Fork loss kind of woke them up, didn't it?
Well, they started the season 1-3 against some good competition. They lost to teams like DeSales, Harvest Prep, and Clear Fork. Mm-hmm. Since then, dude, they destroyed the competition in their league. Outright undefeated champions, and they're putting up, I think they're averaging 50 points per game over the last 5 weeks. So look out, because that was a team that went all the way to the state championship last year, and they were, just like Ontario, this flipping close to bringing home the gold trophy. They end up on the losing end of a great game. 2-point conversion late beats them, but they've got a 4-year starter at quarterback who's going to be sorely missed after he graduates. And this team, they've got some weapons. They just had to figure it out because they were decimated by graduation, specifically on defense too, where their top 2 tacklers, I think they had the top tackler in the state last year in Division 4. When you're replacing guys like that, you cannot duplicate anything during the summer. Even in your scrimmages, you're not quite ready for Friday Night Lights. And Clear Fork, too, they were playing on a different level than they did at the end of the season. Unfortunately, they hit their stride at about week 6, and then they were kind of mediocre after that. So it was a bummer to see kind of the trajectory of Clear Fork and the way that it just came undone towards the end of the season. And it's the exact opposite right now for the Perkins Pirates. Santoro, great coach. He's going to have them fired up. And I think that outside of Shelby, that might be the most dangerous team still floating around out there.
I completely agree, because maybe you see a Bellevue upset over Bath. Shelby would play Bellevue, who they absolutely ran
demolished
off their own field. Shelby, I can probably say they're in the regional championship. But hey, look out for Perkins. I mean, you make a very good point about the way they've been playing as of late. They're hitting their stride now and not earlier on. And all you got to do is get in. Remember Clyde?
Just need a seat at the table.
8th seed.
Got in.
Come back, second half, come back to beat Shelby at home. And then what they do, they went and won a state championship. You just need, like you said, a seat at the table to have a chance. But still, Shelby's so good, man. They're good. It need to be an off night. And I don't think Rob Mahaney would have his guys have an off night. They'll be prepared for each and every one of these games.
And I think until last year, I forget how long the streak was, but Region 14 had the state champion crowned. It was like 6 or 7 years in a row. Like they had an unbelievable run and almost had another one last year with Perkins making the run to the state championship. So this is a region that is producing big-time teams every single year, and I think that this is going to be no exception. Let's take a look at some of the smaller schools now and see the draw in Division 6, Region 22, where some teams coming off of byes got some tough matchups. Cary, baby, they've won 7 of 8. They're only lost that 1-point overtime game at Mohawk.
The Philly Special.
So do you put maybe the Polar Bears on upset alert? They've been undefeated, I think, since week 1. I'll have to check them out, but I think they lost opening night, and then they've been winning too, but Cary, that's a team in the postseason that you can count on. They've been to how many regional finals? A bunch.
Yeah, they lost a 5-5 Vermilion squad, 21-20. Beat Western Reserve 21-0 in week number 2, who's good, but then lost to an 8-3. Well, they beat Gibsonburg 9-6. So I mean, they played some close games, but I mean, Cary, the way they've been playing as of late too, another team that's just hitting their stride. The Polar Bears, the Margaretta Polar Bears.
You got them.
The Blue Devils of Cary, I'm actually trying to talk about. I mean, you can't overlook the Cary Blue Devils right now. The way they were able to sneak into a conference championship at the end of the year, this win against Colonel Crawford, very impressive. And then, Mohawk pulling off the Heroics, who are still in their region as well. But let me direct you down towards the bottom of the bracket.
Please, sir.
For a healthy Western Reserve squad heading to Hopewell Loudon. Like I said, week 2, Margaretta got the best of Western Reserve, 21-0. It was a close game against a really good Margaretta squad. Now you see, this was a game that we did where they got their quarterback back,
Hayden Keith,
and they have been rolling. Freilich finished in the top 10 in receiving. Wiggle finished in the top 10 in rushing as well. I mean, they got their quarterback back. He's healthy. He's back to 100%. Look out. That Hopewell Loudon game, Western Reserve, I think they have a chance in a 10-2 game. And then below that, Seneca East, that win against Mohawk in week number 10 completely baffled me the way they were just able to run them off the field. They knock off Woodmore in a close 2-point game. Now they're going to Archbold. Can Seneca East replicate what they did against Mohawk? Because if they do what they did against Woodmore, I don't think they have a chance. But if Seneca East can get the victory over, can play like they did in week 10, they'll be in it against Archbold. I mean, 3 teams, if they play their best football that they've done already this season, if they are able to replicate that, we may have 3 teams in a regional semifinal in this region.
Yeah, I know it was in the Firelands Conference, but Western Reserve, their last 4 games, they gave up 0 points. They scored about 140. And then on the flip side, the Tigers, this is a team that when they're playing really well, they've won just about every time. They've had some off nights. So is it going to be the Jekyll and Hyde show? Do you get the leading passer in the conference stepping up? Nicholas Parks, he's a special type of cat. They have some big boys up front as well, and I just love the unis too when they wear those camos. So it's going to be an interesting region for sure. I feel like this one's pretty wide open. Most folks probably, when you looked at how it played out on paper, the top 2 seeds,
yes,
when you look at the Polar Bears and Hopewell Loudon, they played a phenomenal game just a few weeks back, of course, won by Margaretta. That's probably the game that most people are anticipating that they'll get in the championship. But there's a couple sleepers, and I think Western Reserve would be at the top of that. I mean, they got that dream catcher right now above their bed, and then they've been doing it more often than not. And a gutsy win on the road at Bluffton, too, to punch their ticket into Week 12.
Yeah, they're battle-tested already, and that's something where not getting the bye helps you, is if you can get a big win on the road like that, if you're Western Reserve, then you have all the confidence going into the 2 seed. And Hopewell Loudon did not play Bluffton, even though they're out that way in the regular season, but they did play Cary in week 1, beat them 30-7. Margaretta, they lost to 29-26, like we said in that shootout, but they're scoring over 30 points a game, except for twice. They shut out Gibsonburg 25-0, and then the 29-26 win. 14-7, they beat Pleasant in week number 2, though. Kind of a head-scratcher, but like you said, early in the year, trying to maybe find their footing. But yeah, I would... Let me book this. One of those 3 teams that we have will make it to the regional semis.
Okay, so you're going to put that in Sharpie.
Yes.
I like it.
Guarantee it, like Mr. Charles would always say.
All right, let's look at region number 23 now. Stay in division number 6. And we've got, of course, a couple of our teams participating out there. The number 1 seed coming off of the bye as well. And dare I say, upset alert out in Trojan country. I'm taking a look at the scouting report. Ridgewood, 9-win team so far. Trav, and you don't like most of the wins, but there are only 2 losses. Indian Valley, defending state champs. Garaway, they're a really good team. So at least that's a squad I think they can scare Centerburg coming off of the 2-week layoff. I wouldn't just pencil them into the next round.
Centerburg beat Utica 34-0. Ridgewood beat them 31-0. 2 teams that they faced each other. But, I mean, Centerburg has been just...
Came back player of the year, Blaine Ball.
Yes.
I know, the coach of the year, all that good stuff. Like, they're a loaded team. They got some D1 commits. So certainly they're going to be the favorite. They're at home. The heart of Ohio is a special place to play, especially when you've got Love out on the perimeter and Miles Marshall, the Marshall of those parts. But I'm just saying, it's not going to be no gimme.
Well, here's one for you. Ridgewood beat Lutheran East in week 3, 23-20. That was a team that Lucas came back and won by 2 scores. Is that something? Do you think Centerburg beats Lucas by 2 scores? Loses by 2 scores to them? If you're looking team by team, who knows? But Ridgewood also, Northmore had to beat them in a regional semi with a couple. That was the goal line stand with like a minute left and a half. Then 3 passes later, the Golden Knights score and start running away with it. So this is a team, they got a chip on their shoulders after getting that game taken away from them. But Centerburg's just, they're really good. And I asked Coach Coella on the podcast while you were off doing your soccer duties. I said, a couple years ago you were in this position. You played Columbus Academy in the opening round, and they upset you. What did you learn from that? And he said, coaching-wise, things like that, we've learned from losses. So I think they're going to be more ready for this time around.
But let's talk about the real most fun game in this week, number 12. Colonel Crawford on the road, down on the reservation, Travis. And the Eagles, this is a squad with Jake Bruner that they've carried on a tradition of excellence, and they are versatile. They're multiple this year. They got the 2 different signal callers, and I like what each of them is able to bring to the table with Holt and Baker rotating in through there. The McMonster's been scoring a bunch of touchdowns, and we know defensively this squad has been a juggernaut at times. They had that mid-season form run where they only allowed 8 points over a 3-week stretch, but they're going up against some guys that look like they should be playing for a college football team up front for Mount Gilead. Awesome rushing attack. And don't overlook the fact that this is a really exciting time for them, and they are just feeding off the energy of the entire community down there in MG. It seems like they've got everybody in their corner right now rooting for them, including probably the collective K-Mac all watching on, just wanting to see this team succeed because they've never done anything like this before.
No, first ever 9-win season, or second, I said. Coach Reed said way back they had 9 wins, but in recent memory, as in like last 50 years, they have not. So they were all the way down there, all the way up there, I should say, with just all the marks they have, and they have the human bowling ball. You can give it to Carson Barnum 30, 40 times, and he's not tired. You have all of those linemen that if I stand up in front of them, I wouldn't be able to see anything. They are just so big and so tall, and they're ready to go. I mentioned this last week. Coach Reed messaged me and said, hey, are you guys going to be streaming the Crawford game? Absolutely, yeah. He's like, good. My guys want to be in the locker room to watch the game together.
Nice.
So it's just they're locked in right now, the Indians and the Eagles, although the winner gets to head down to the heart of Ohio. Mount Gilead also chomping at the bit. That was their lone loss. They got blown out down there in the heart of Ohio a few weeks ago. They wanted to have a second chance at Centerburg. But Colonel Crawford, though, that tough loss to Grandview Heights back,
that's it.
In the playoffs last year. They had it.
Motivated.
They had it late. Lost it, and then Grandview Heights ends up going to the regional final and playing Northmore before falling. So, both these teams, they have some chips on their shoulders that they want to make some noise here, and this is going to be the game of the night in Region 23. I tell you that right now. Book that, guarantee it. That's going to be the game of the night in Region 23.
Book it, baby. All right, let's take a look now. Let's move on to Division 7. Let's look at region number 25, where we have got some interesting matchups here in this week number 12. I'm taking a look at Monroeville. Malvern, the team that pushed Hillsdale to the brink last year, where they needed not one but 2 Hail Marys to knock them off. I think this is a little bit different team. They don't quite have the same roster. And for Monroeville, too, this team I felt like was kind of overlooked at the beginning of the year. Picked to finish like 3rd within their league. Yep. What do? They go unblemished in the Firelands Conference. They're your champions. They get to sit and watch everybody last week. And this is a versatile offense as well that you see they can hit you over the top. But, of course, the running attack is what really carries Monroeville. So I think that this is kind of the game of the week for Week 12 within Region 25.
Now, Malvern, their losses, 7-3 Martins Ferry squad. You saw Martins Ferry play in their rushing attack. They lost 35-6.
Pretty good.
Lost to Mogadors 9-1, 28-14. Newcomerstown, who's 7-4, 40-12. East Canton 9-2. They lost in Week 10, 7-6. Strasburg, a team that needed to hold off Lucas, they beat Strasburg 16-10. They have a win 14-13 over a 2-8 Tuscarawas Valley squad as well. So, I mean, they have wins. They're in the postseason. They have a good win over St. John's School, 34-0. But do they have that signature victory, Brian? That's the big question. I mean, Strasburg, who's 8-3, yeah, but by 6 points. I mean, I think Monroeville has more bigger wins than Malvern does, and I think they will. With their running attack, they have the passing as well. They're just such a balanced squad this year, and they've been tested by Crestview. They've been tested by Western Reserve. They've been tested by St. Paul. 2 of the 3 teams making the playoffs, the other one just barely missing out. So I think Monroeville's ready, and just like the volleyball squad, they want to move on.
Meanwhile, the number 1 seed, Old McDonald there. I don't count out John F. Kennedy. Of course, we've seen JFK, and they have had a lot of electric moments within the postseason, and just a great tradition. So when you've built that culture, that when you get into the playoffs, that it's go time, I don't think that just because they're the number 1 seed and they've got that 0 right now hanging out within their loss column, that is the team to beat. I'm not so sure that Fairport is either. Neither of them that impressive when you look at just their resumes from top to bottom. But Region 25, kind of wide open. I think that this is a team, or a region rather, that you don't see one particular team where you're like, yeah, that's probably going to run
this could
through.
be Monroeville's for the taking. They take care of business. They win game. You win games, you're going to move on, absolutely. But if they take care of business, do what they have done in the Firelands Conference, I could see them playing for a regional championship, but they got to take it one game at a time.
All right, now Region 26, where we've got Mohawk still participating. Big win over Mount Pillier last week, 41-6. They handled the competition there. You look at LCC, that's the number 1 team and probably the most feared team. Their only loss on the season right now is to Columbus Grove, and they play a pretty good schedule up there in Northwest Ohio. Knocked off teams like Bluffton, Shawnee, beat Cary in a weird game early in the season, a 6-0 win. So probably they're the favorites to emerge out of here. But I love that matchup of Mohawk going up to Leipzig, and one lost team there, absolutely shelled by Liberty Benton a few weeks back. But Mohawk, when they've been on their game, I mean, we've seen it.
Yeah.
Overtime wins over Cary, and great rushing attack. Caden Bish is starting to come into his own. So this is a team that's probably going to frighten quite a few. But it all happens up in Putnam County on Friday, a game that we're going to be there. We got to go check them out on the road.
I was telling you before, we were after our meeting here earlier, Mohawk has a chance of hosting if they can get past this one. I think Pandora Gilboa will beat North Baltimore. North Baltimore got the 2 seed. They beat a lot of 500 teams. They didn't have, like I said, that signature victory. They blew out Crestline. That was one of their biggest victories so far. But they got win after win. They finish, in the region with a 10-0 record. But that 10-0 record was against squads that are, like I said, 1-9, 1-9, 6-4, 5-5, 6-5. Nobody with 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins in that schedule for them. But they still got the 2 seed. I think Pandora Gilboa can knock them off. And if Mohawk can win, they're a 6 and a 7. Regional semis are now at the higher seed. Mohawk could very well be hosting a regional semifinal next week if they can get past Leipzig, and I think they can with what you just saw, with what they were able to do against Cary. Now, the Seneca East game, maybe it woke them up. Maybe they overlooked it. They thought, hey, we have this locked up for a conference championship, and Seneca East sent them a wake-up call in which they were able to, dominate Montpelier, and maybe that will help them get to maybe a regional final.
Yeah, we're going to find out together live and free on OH.Report. And now our final region to take a look at, I think I'm going to call this the Hillsdale region. Because Region 27, certainly this is another huge favorite to emerge and get back to a state Final Four. And is there any team more motivated in the state right now, coming off of a loss in Week 10? They have not beat their arch rival in more than a decade. And I know that they play in Division 5 and the Hillsdale's Division 7. However, the way that their season ended last year, absolutely embarrassed in Canton.
Yeah.
They want to prove to themselves that was an anomaly. They want to get back. They want Marion local, but you got to check all the boxes first. And it took a couple of miracles for them to get to the state championship game last year. It just feels like this is a team that's been on a different trajectory this year. 1 year more experience. They didn't lose a lot last year to graduation. Owen Sloan's healthy going into the postseason right now.
Hayden McFadden's back to being healthy.
It feels like Conotton Valley, they might want to come with a hard hat, lunch pail, and maybe just stick around with the sleeping bag.
Conotton Valley scored 78 points against Bishop Rosecrans.
Oh, shoot.
They're probably still going to get running clocked out of Hillsdale. And Hillsdale fans, I can announce I am going to be the voice of the Falcons for this playoff run. Called dibs over like 5 different people and just was able to win the rock paper scissors tournament to get it. But I am excited to follow the Falcons through this. If Lyman Central Catholic does not do what people think can be the biggest test to Marion Local, I want to see a Marion Local Hillsdale rematch, because the way Marion Local was able to tip tiptoe their way to an undefeated season shows that I think they're a little bit more beatable than they were last year when they had just the best senior class in the history of Ohio high school football go through and just steamroll them, who they steamrolled everybody. I still think anybody in Division 4, 5, 6, or 7 in those championship games would have lost to Marion Local, maybe even D3 if they were able to stop that rushing attack. But Hillsdale once. I know they want Marion Local in a state championship game, and I think Hillsdale's just going to keep that focus where let's just take it 1 week at a time. Let's just run over these teams so we can get back to Canton and show the state that last year was, just one of those little blips on the radar because of such a great senior class from the other side there at Marion Local. But Hillsdale is just, they stay healthy like they are. I don't see anybody. I do see Danville, though, on the bottom half of the bracket. I mean, they go all the way to the Ohio River. They let Jonathan Langdon on the Spirit bus so he can make the trip to Harding Stadium in Steubenville High School. And they just – I thought it could be like a 2-score game for Danville. No, 54-0.
They're up 2 scores in 2 minutes.
They just dominated this. This was Danville playoff football from the last few years. Like, this is a team that I think they play like that, they're the second best team in this region, literally, by the way they played.
Could get a rematch, Hillsdale-Danville in the playoffs, and that was a dandy last year.
That state Final Four game, we could probably get that matchup. I mean, got to look, Fisher Catholic and Waterford are 2 really good teams still, but the way Danville played, I mean, my goodness, they just I'm hoping we get that rematch, an 11-1 for a regional championship game. I still say Hillsdale may be favored a little bit. Sorry, Coach Bloom. Sorry, folks down at Danville, but just Hillsdale. Yeah. Again, like I said, we bookend this. Big Walnut at the beginning, Hillsdale at the end. 2 teams that got further than people thought they would last year. You thought maybe this would be the year for both of these teams to make their runs. They did it a year early, but that got them so much experience by getting 5 extra games in that now I can just, come on, Marion Local Hillsdale for a state championship game.
We all want it. I think Marion Local wants it too, obviously. But when you beat someone 77-0, you're like, yeah, but bring on those chumps again for a state championship. But if I give you the True Serum Elixir and you got to bet the farm on it out there in West Virginia country and those beautiful rolling hills, who has the best shot of getting out of our teams to a state Final Four?
Hillsdale.
Is the Falcons book it? All your eggs are in the Eagles' nest?
Hillsby, Shelldale.
Yeah, there we go.
Hillsby, Shelldale. I've told you I could see us covering 4 Final Four games the day after Thanksgiving. We could be busy that day because I think Big Walnut, yes. Hillsdale, yes. Shelby, yes. And I think the winner of Centerburg and whoever wins out of Crawford, Mount Gilead will win a regional championship as well. And then who knows, maybe Mohawk with a run, maybe Western Reserve or Cary. Just think, the day after Thanksgiving, eating our leftovers in the car because we got a ton of games left. That's an OH.Report dream right there, and it could very well happen to be at least 4 teams. And then after that, those 4 teams, they may very well, with the matchups, be playing in Canton. We'd have a full weekend again, first weekend of December.
That could be a lot to cover at state championships,
Shelldale, Hillsby.
Shelldale.
Those are my 2 teams. There's my 1 team. I'm going to say that.
Well, Travis, I'm glad that you brought up state competition because
state champion.
Our next special guest, she knows a thing or two about being a state champion.
National champion.
3 times this young lady went to state and also just finished up her rookie season as a professional in the NWSL for Bay FC. We are talking about 4-time high school All-American, 3-time collegiate All-American. You're looking at her. That's America's sweetheart, Mrs. Taylor Huff. How we doing, Miss Huff?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's always great to catch up with you. And life as a professional, I got to hear about it. No more class, nothing getting in the way of soccer for you now. You're getting paid to play the beautiful game. What's it been like for you over these last several months of just being a pro athlete?
Yeah, it's obviously significantly different than college. I don't have schoolwork, which is amazing, but I've had to fill my time, which has been, I think, a challenge because we do have so much time after training. But I mean, it's so much fun just getting to find interests outside of soccer too. But yeah, it's been a long year. We obviously started in January and just now finished in November. So it's a long season compared to college as well.
So what type of hobbies did you pick up along the way? Obviously, you're out there, you're in the Sunshine State. It's a little bit different from what you grew up with, but I know you also got a taste of the good life down in Tallahassee and Tennessee. But what is it that you're doing to occupy your time when you're not messing around with the football at your feet?
Yeah, I love coffee shops, and so that's my favorite thing to do. There's so many here in the Bay Area, so just finding different coffee shops and sitting down and reading has been, I think, both good for me mentally too, and just taking that deep breath and being able to just enjoy the coffee and, a good book.
Does it feel like a job now that you're playing for money, Taylor, and you're picking up paychecks? Do you feel like that you have to be working on your fitness and your ball handling skills all the time? Do you feel guilty if you're at the coffee shop and you kind of order like a crumble cake on the side because obviously the body's the temple and all that? What has that process been like for you now that like it truly is? It's your job to be really good and really fit.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to say that is my job, and it's such an honor, and it's been my dream to even be in this position. So I try to look at it in that way because I don't want to see it as a job. It's just something I love to do, and it's an honor to be able to do it. So yeah, it's been hard because, I mean, it does consume every single day of my life. So I think just realizing that I can't really take it, I can take it seriously, but I need a balance too in order to, I think, stay mentally strong.
Playing your matches at PayPal Park, I've been keeping up with you guys on social media. Looks like you got some pretty awesome environments out there. You go on the road, you play places like Portland and San Diego. What is it like at these massive ballparks now when you're a pro? Did it take a little while to adjust? Obviously, collegiately, you played in some big-time atmospheres and big stadiums, but definitely the pros, this is a big step up. 18,000 seats for your home games, 25 plus at some of the road venues too. Like, what's been that big adjustment like for you?
I mean, it's been the coolest thing ever, just getting to play against some of the best competition in the United States and world, but also the best fans. We have such a great environment at PayPal. We have amazing fans, and we also got to play at Oracle Park this year, the baseball stadium, which was an incredible experience. We sold it out. I think it was close to 40,000, if I want to say, and so it was just insane getting to play in front of that many people. And I mean, it was obviously I've never experienced that, but yeah, going from college to professional is a whole different level.
NWSL, it's been around for a little while now, a dozen years or more, but your team, just 2 years ago, it was created. You talked about just how much different the environments are. How is the fanfare right now for the Bay FC? Because people are still just kind of learning about you guys as you're now in just year number 2 that you just wrapped up. And which teams would you say kind of had like the best crowds when you went on the road that you were just like, man, they are really invested right now in this particular franchise?
Yeah, I think it's so cool being a part of a new team because you're starting from the ground up and just being able to see where it's at and where it's going to be. And so, yeah, I'm super excited for the years to come and just being able to be that person that they're investing in, but also kind of creating change for that too. And then the best place I've kind of played is probably Portland. It's an insane place to play.
Yes.
Their fans are crazy. I would not want to play there. But I actually scored there and it was dead silent. And so I'm like, wait, did I actually score? But yeah, it's so fun playing at these different environments because I know when people come to our place, they don't want to play against us or at our stadium. So it's fun to have that backing in the NWSL and our home fans too.
And you were an instant starter at the pro ranks. It was the same thing when you went from high school to college, and of course the same thing when you were in high school. You came in as a freshman and already you were the star player. So transitioning from one level to the next, it seems like it's been very comfortable for you. You've all handled it in stride the entire time. So if you had to like credit yourself with the adaptability or anything that you bring to the table, why do you think you've been able to go from one stage of soccer to the next, and it just seems like it's another step up for you and you're handling it all in stride?
I'm glad you can see it that way. I think it's been so tough, honestly. Obviously, I have very high expectations for myself, and it wasn't the year that I wanted to have, but I do think I learned so much just by going through it and not winning games and not being, that person. While it might look like that on the outside, it was very difficult to navigate. We haven't won since June, and so just going through that and realizing like the hard times just make the good times even better. So just striving to get there, and not everything's always going to go right. And your work that you've done all your life, it isn't always going to pay off, but you just got to keep going and keep working hard, because it's not always easy. And you might see, yeah, I'm a professional soccer player, and that's great, and I had a good year, that's also great, but there's so many highs and there's so many lows. And I think just the biggest thing I learned is not to get too high and not to get too low, but find that balance, because not always it's going to be easy, but you just have to keep going and keep working hard and keep level-minded.
Yeah, I got to have you elaborate a little bit on being like right near the bottom of the NWSL standings, because that's not the Taylor Huff that I've ever seen. You've never experienced this before. Obviously, you came into the high school ranks. I mean, you guys were an elite team right away. You go to college, what do? You win natties, 3-time All-American. All you do is just win, win, win no matter what. So to go through struggles where you haven't had a win in quite some time right now, mentally, other than the coffee shops, hopefully you found like some dogs at the park that you can pet to keep you smiling or whatever. How else are you trying to just keep yourself afloat right now and just remember that this is the big leagues, baby, and like no matter what, even if things aren't going well, I have to try to bring my best elite energy every day?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just control the controllables. I can only control what I'm bringing to the team, and I know that I'm going to give everything that I can do. And if it goes right, that's great, but if it doesn't, I also have to keep going and controlling what I can do. And I can say I'm proud of myself for that and bringing everything I had to this team, and I'm going to continue to do that going forward. But yeah, it's obviously been difficult, but I also have an amazing church family here who's helped me, who's guided me, and have just been there alongside me to lift me up. And I think that's super important, just having people outside of soccer to kind of go to for who see you not as a soccer player maybe, and just like someone you're hanging out with and easy to do life with. I think that was super important and got me through too.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy to jump to the pros and just be an instant stud as a rookie, but the numbers would kind of suggest that you were this year, Taylor. Travis has a question for you about doing something that only 2 first-year pros did this year in the NWSL.
What's up, Taylor? First, before I ask you the question, got to say, we are so darn proud of you back here in North Central Ohio. I mean, covering you from when you were a freshman at Madison to now, I mean, I'm interviewing a professional athlete in Taylor Huff. Just so proud of you. Continued being proud also through this season. Every time you scored, I get fist bump. My girlfriend's like, what are you doing? I'm like, Taylor Huff just scored a professional goal. It's awesome to see. So very proud of you, Taylor. Keep it up. But you were one of 2 rookies to play every match. Just what's that say about, one, the team trusting you, and you just becoming one of the best rookies here in the NWSL, that they trust you to play every match, and then in the last 10 matches, pretty much every minute of those matches?
Yeah, I'm super grateful for Bay and for the coaching staff to just invest in me and want me to be the best version. I think they were very patient with me, because adapting to the NWSL is not easy, and I went through the hard times of not getting how I wanted to play. So that was difficult, but they were there every step of the way. And for that, I'm grateful, because at any point they could have been like, we're putting in a more experienced player who knows what they're doing. And they never really saw me like that or kind of did me that way. They just kind of were patient with me, corrected along the way, and kind of just built me up, which I'm really, really grateful for.
And I've been reading not only that, but your head coach has given you more of a free role in that midfield. I compare you to Mr. Jamie Tart of Ted Lasso, where they just say, play through me, let me create some plays for my fellow athletes. But what is that? How's that been? Just being able to kind of do your thing there, staying within the offense and the defense of the squad, but also having that free mentality where you can just go out and create plays when you want to.
Yeah, I think that's the type of player I am, so I'm thankful that Bay sees that in me and kind of allows me to do that, because it's not normal to be able to go to the professional leagues and have that freedom and role, but that's when I'm at my best, when I'm able to create and just see the field and move off of it, and it might not, go right, but I'm always going to try to adapt and move forward, and that kind of off-balances teams, because there's no set rhythm to it. It's just me seeing where the defense is and kind of going off their movement. And for that, obviously, I'm super grateful Bay has done that and allowed me to have that freedom role, but I know that's not like that everywhere. So.
And not only that, but the U.S. national team, once again, recognizing this, not only once but twice did they invite you to camp this year. Just how is that continuing to develop with you? Because, I mean, you've been invited to the under 16, the under 18, now the under 23 national team. That's got to say a lot with the national team saying they continually want to have you back in the camp.
Yeah, it's always been my dream and will continue to be my dream to be on the United States national team. So every single camp I'm grateful for. It started in January with the Futures Camp. Just called in like it sounds, the future of the women's national team, and so it's the under 23s, and I'd been with them for camp in, I think it was March and then June, and then I just got back from camp in Philadelphia. So I actually aged out of the U23 group, so hoping to get a full team call up within the next few years, but not really expecting anything, just going to continue to do my thing and work hard, so hopefully one day I can put on the jersey again.
And I mean, in a couple of years, you'd be going San Jose and LA down from San Jose.
It's a little south, I think.
South. So I mean, you're already set up, just making a little bit trip down for the Olympics.
Just
coming up in LA. But I want to talk about your setup. How are the digs out there in the Bay Area for you? You got an apartment, a little house. What's the setup for you over there? And are you liking California life?
Yeah, I mean, it's significantly different than any place I've ever lived. So definitely still getting used to it, I guess, 11 months in now. But yeah, there's a lot to do and the weather's always amazing. So that part's great. The apartment setup is very nice. And yeah, I was given a car in my contract. So I'm pretty set here, which has been amazing. And I'm so grateful for everything here. It's been good. I'm pretty set up.
What's the car? What car do you have?
An Audi.
Whoa, not just any car. That's some German engineering there, T.
Yeah, but it's weird because I have to charge it. So I've never had to charge a car.
California.
Sometimes I forget, and I have to go to like the fast chargers before training, which only takes 30 minutes, and it's fine. But I will legitimately forget sometimes because, like you just go to the gas station quick. No, you have to charge it. So that part's different.
Oh, good old California and those EV laws. Well, I'm glad that you're adjusting out there, and it looks like you found a home there at Bay FC. But I know soccer contracts, they're weird. Like, you can put, like, a player on loan. Like, you can sell contracts and that type of thing. And they signed you up through 2027, I know. But does it feel like that's where you're going to be for the next couple of years? Do you have dreams of going overseas and maybe playing in Europe? Or what do you think the foreseeable future is going to be for you when you're next stepping foot on a pro soccer surface? Where do you envision yourself?
Yeah, I mean, Bay FC is my contract through 2027, and we're in San Jose for the next year, and then we're actually moving facilities in San Francisco, Treasure Island, so they're creating their own facility there, which is super exciting. It's going to be training grounds, and then we'll still play at PayPal Park. But that's through 2027, and I've always dreamed and wanted to go overseas and play. So after that, I think that would be my vision and goal, is just to play overseas. I've played there a couple times just with throughout college and with Cleveland Ambassadors. It's just a whole different style of play, level, and everything, and so I want to be challenged in that way. I think too, just living across the pond I think would be a bit fun, but yeah, that's always been a dream of mine.
Also, could you see yourself as a building block for this team? I know it's only their second year in existence. The way they've been able to play you, only the second player, the second rookie to play all your matches, the more time you've been getting. Do you feel like this could be an extended stay at Bay because they want to build like around you and a couple other pieces?
Yeah, I think it's so amazing just being able to play the minutes I've played. It's obviously helped me tremendously. Like I could learn different things if I were on the bench, and that probably will come at some point in my career. But I'm thankful that I have been on the field, and I've been kind of thrown into the mix, and it's kind of been like figure it out yourself in a way in the midfield, because, I mean, yeah, there's coaches, but when you're on field, it's so different. You have to figure things out yourself. So playing those big minutes has been huge for me in my development. I'm super lucky.
Last time you were here in studio, T. Huff, we were able to like put together a little like logo for you. We were encouraging you to use your Instagram account a few more times, and it looks like you've been posting a little bit more. So now that you're a pro and you got a new car to drive around when it's charged up, are there endorsement deals for you at this point? Are you seeing yourself on billboards? Are you on cereal boxes? What has that part of the landscape been like for you so far in your rookie year?
Yeah, I signed with Adidas last year, and so that's kind of my big thing. I don't really, I guess, post about that. I need to get better at that, and I'll forever say that.
Yeah, that's huge.
But I'm not really interested in that stuff. I should be, but yeah, so that was my big thing. I told my agent that I didn't really want to do any huge things my first year, just because I wanted to focus on soccer, and that was what I wanted to do as my foundation my first year. I think it was super important just to get the soccer in place and my mind in the right place, and then hopefully going forward, I'll get a few more. But I thought Adidas was a good stepping stone, get free shoes and everything. So yeah, that's great, and I think it's been my big one.
Yeah, I'm a size 11, Taylor, if you were
here.
wondering. 10 and a half over here for Travis. So all the free swag and merch that you can send our way. We need a Bay FC Huff jersey up on our wall of fame, though. So I'll even be a paying customer. I got to get me one of those, but for sure, we got to get that thing posted on the wall like ASAP out here. But yeah, I'm happy to hear that you're doing great out there. Obviously, you probably need like a media coordinator. So at some point, I'm just going to shut this whole operation down. I'll just hand it off to Travis. He can handle OH.Report, and I'm just going to make Taylor Huff probably the biggest soccer star that's ever been. We can probably all pull this off, and everybody gets what they want, right?
Yeah, just throw a couple bucks my way, for keeping things down. But yeah, take her. A couple names with Adidas that I've looked up: Lionel Messi, Patrick Mahomes,
he's a big one.
Damian Lillard,
Yep.
David Beckham, Haley Van Lith. Jordan almost signed with it, but if you watch the movie Air, Nike just took him. And now Taylor Huff.
Yes, a long lineage of greats, but perhaps none greater than the most recent signee. So, Taylor, always love talking to you. You got any planned visits? You coming to Ohio anytime soon? Maybe Thanksgiving, Christmas?
Yeah, I am coming home soon, so I'm super excited to be back in Ohio.
You got to stop and see us, though. We're looking forward to seeing you again in here.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, we'll get some OH.Report swag put together for you. Maybe bring a couple of little Adidas things for us, and we'll just all swap gifts, little gift exchange.
Sounds great.
All right, thanks as always for the time. Appreciate the time, Taylor.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you guys so much. Bye.
See ya, ma'am.
How cool is it that we have
Living the
we have
dream.
a couple OH.Report friends. It's Kate Stover playing NFL football. You have Taylor
get
Huff
healthy, Kate.
in the NWSL, which is one of the more up and coming sports in North America as well. Soccer, the beautiful game there, and it's just so cool that we get to interview professional athletes that that we both actually personally know too. It's just so cool.
Like, I love watching the videos when they're like some of the environments. She's right. It was lit. Like watching the Portland game just like seeing what that was like. And we haven't had too many to come through the OH.Report family yet that have gone on to the pro ranks. So I've said this. I've been on record from like the time it was 2017, and I seen her play in her first game as a freshman.
That
I was like,
state
I
semifinal
think
year.
that this young lady, she's got potential probably to be the best ever to come out of Richland County, and she has dwarfed that. She's probably the GOAT for the state of Ohio for girls soccer. And there it is. Taylor Huff on a Frosted Flakes box. So already making deals. So let's go.
Taylor Huff looking like Sabrina Ionescu in that picture too. But hey,
they might be twinning a little bit.
Hey, Sabrina Ionescu's a GOAT.
Is that another Adidas signee, I think? Maybe we can get a collab and a commercial. I'll film it. So I got some ideas going. So I'm Taylor's going to get sick of me. I'm just going to be texting her all the time. Well, what do you think about this idea and this design? So coming soon.
Hey,
Taylor Huff on everything.
And her dad has more time now to go watch her as well. So she gets
some of
that family time too. Shout out Zach, one of the best soccer coaches we've had coming through North Central Ohio as well. And,
maybe not the best commentator. He was one and done. I gave him the invite for tournaments. I don't think he returned my text on that. But we all have, our
he'd rather be on the
pitch
pitch than commentating on the pitch. But
this is true.
Yeah, that's awesome. Taylor Huff also sticking with her roots too, remembering the ones that she was with when she first got her start.
Yeah, and I know that she still does some vacationing with all of her homegirls from high school, the Madison
state
girls. There was
yeah.
a few of them. One of the dads, who was a mechanic friend of mine, showed me a couple of videos from last time they all got together. So it is sweet that they all still are hanging out. Like I know that we're way older than Taylor is, even though she's aged out of the U23 now. So she's getting a couple of years under her belt. But like I don't talk to many of my high school homies all that much. So I hope that they keep that strong bond forever. But I didn't win a chip. I don't have a ring with any of my friends, so that probably makes a difference. That's pretty special. Yeah. We got a little special highlights here. So if you're wondering about Taylor, just go to the OH.Report website. If you don't remember the gracefulness that she brought to the beautiful game, and she's one of those type of girls that almost hits a switch. You see her, and I joke, but she really is like America's sweetheart out there.
Oh, yeah.
And then she has like game face for real when she gets out on the turf. And we had the dancing ram, I remember, in the 2020 state championship game. Man,
you said that game face. That year, the regional, where they forced us to go all the way up to Toledo.
Yeah,
it's Toledo Central
Catholic. They had to go on the road for every game. The number one seed in the whole tournament.
And you remember on election night that tough foul about not 50 yards away, like the what a goal in the state semifinal, but before that was about 25, 30 yards away, and she got fouled hard. And I looked at you and said on the broadcast, I said, she's mad right now. Watch her score this. And she did, upper 90 of that goal, and then just mean mugged them. I mean, she's one of the nicest people off the pitch, but when she gets on there, it's just
yes. It's almost like, I mean, she's a very devout Christian, but it's almost like, Jesus, for these 90 minutes that I'm out on the field, I'm going to get a little scrappy out here today. Just looking for your blessing. And she's been able to do that. All right, Chef, we got a lot still to get to, right?
Yes,
so let's...
we still got high school football going on, so that means... What do we have, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to let you go first.
Yes.
Awesome performances, of course, on the gridiron for week number 11, and you got a countdown of the very best.
Well, yeah, I am Mr. Phenom for the year, and we have 7 more Phenominees this week from week 1 of our high school football playoff coverage, because we have so many darn teams remaining. We had so many great performances. I had to break it just down to 7. We had more, but I got it down to 7, and here they are, your week 11 Friday night Phenominees. Time now for your week 11 Friday night Phenoms, presented to you by Spherion Mid-Ohio. We finally get our eyes on the Appalachian State commit from the Ashland Arrows. Yes, nominee number 1 is Arrows quarterback Nathan Bernhard, who just did anything he wanted in their opening round victory over Mount Vernon. The future Mountaineer threw for 327 yards and 6, yes, you heard that right, 6 touchdowns, which ties the school record, while also rushing for 80 yards and his 50th career rushing score. That is 7 total touchdowns, folks. They'll need that effort this Friday night as they head to St. Francis de Sales. Nominee number 2 took advantage of his 12 carries on Friday night, nearly averaging 8 yards per tote, as Colonel Crawford's Connor McMichael helped the Eagles fly in the round 2. 25% of the time he got the ball, he got into the end zone, scoring 3 times, while coming up only 5 yards short of the century mark as they get back to the regional quarterfinals. Special mention shout out to Avery Powers for the pancake block here as well. Nom Nom number 3 showed out in Buckeye Valley's first ever home playoff game as Nathan Huss helped roll the alma mater of Joe Burrow. A 44-yard touchdown run, another 1-yard rushing score, and a 33-yard scoring pass as the Barons head to Harding Stadium on Friday night, hoping to do what Danville did to Catholic Central in round 1, that being knocking off a Steubenville squad. Number 4 is back in the lineup after another highlight-filled performance in round 1 and a 7-point victory on the road at Clear Fork. Orville stud receiver Braylon McDuffie again led the Red Riders to another big dub on Friday night, hauling in 7 catches for 93 yards and 2 scores. But he wasn't done there. He also completed a 39-yard pass as one top receiver in the area goes against the top receiver in Brady Bowman on Friday night at Shelby. Our 5th nominee had the Danville Blue Devils looking like the playoff squads we have been accustomed to over the past few years, as freshman Briggs Wallace dominated on special teams, pulling off not 1 but 2 successful onside kicks, then took a kickoff 84 yards to the house. He also made one of the top highlight plays of the week with a one-handed touchdown grab as Danville rolled on the Ohio River and into the regional quarters.
In his final high school football game, Whitmore running back Landon Rich put up numbers good enough for nominee number 6, carrying the ball 27 times for 96 yards and 2 scores. But it wasn't enough on the road as they came up short at Seneca East. The Tigers may have been too much on Friday night, but Mr. Rich left it all on the field one final time in the postseason. Our final nominee had the best rushing performance of anyone in the area on Friday night, as Mohawk's Caden Bish averaged just under 16 yards per carry, running 12 times for 189 yards and 3 scores, as the Warriors won running away in their final home game of the season. They will need another performance like that as they head to third-seeded Lipsick on Friday. There are your 7 nominees. It is now time to cast your vote, with the winner being announced on Friday's Playoff Pigskin, and it's all brought to you by Spherion Mid-Ohio.
And as always, it's double dip. During the podcast, put Phenom and then the number or the number in the name. But we need to separate top plays and Phenoms because there's at least 7 of both. But it's a double dip until the end of the show, and then it goes down to 1 vote until we tally them up on Thursday night. Brian?
I'm not trying to overshadow you and your 7 Phenoms, but I got 10 top plays from week number 11. And there were 13 submissions this week, so it was tough. I had to leave a couple on the cutting room floor, but these are the top 10 best plays according to me, and then you get a chance to vote. Spin them!
Round 1 of the playoffs in the books. Here's your top plays presented by Spherion Mid-Ohio. Let's start closing seconds of the first half at the Colt Corral. Orville's Cameron Kraft going up top, and his favorite target makes a play. That's Braylon McDuffie. And double coverage, not enough to slow down that 6'5 senior. He completed a wide receiver pass on the previous down just to set this whole thing up. Crucial connection and a 7-point Red Riders win. We take you out to North Robinson now, where the McMonsters on the loose. Huge night for Crawford senior back Connor McMichael, highlighted by that 19-yard touchdown lunging over the goal line in the Battle of the Eagles. But it's the Big Birds in the yellow unis getting it done. Awesome effort right here from the McMonster. Danville leading by 3 scores just before the break in Steubenville, but let's pump it up to 4, shall we? One hand's all Briggs Wallace needs to haul in the Parker Proper pass for the score, and upon a second look, see how Briggs reaches out with that big right paw to bring in the touchdown catch. 54-0, Blue Devils roll. Last year's D3 runners-up Toledo Central Catholic get a special run after the catch here at nominee 4, where there's 4 different Ontario defenders who got a shot at Jerome Davis, but the Irish wideout still standing as he makes his way all the way to the zone. It's just a simple swing pass too, then Davis turns into pay dirt. 43 yards, he gets loose in a 35-0 win over the Warriors. And speaking of Warriors, our next nominee ended up in the win column because Caden Bish was a man amongst boys. Aggressive TD run, carrying half of Montpelier on his back here into the end zone. Elite patience displayed here by the Mohawk back, running through contact before showing off the leg strength in a big-time 41-6 victory for the Warriors. Former OCC rivals meeting in Week 11 at Community Stadium, where Killian O'Brien brings in the one-handed grab in the back of the zone. Amazing concentration from the Ashland wideout just before the halftime whistle as well to help Ashland knock out Mount Vernon 56-21. It wasn't all treats on Halloween night. How about some tricks from Lucas? Brady Giegold with a fake punt pass, and QB Carter Cox on 4th and Forever brings it in. Typically, it's Cox delivering the dimes. This time, he's on the other end, first down catch in heavy traffic to move the chain for the Cubs. Nominee 8, designed to pick up just a yard or 2, but then Buckeye Valley's Nathan Huss, he takes the tush push out of the pack. He will burst 42 yards for the Barons' first score of the night. What a way to jumpstart the action in the first ever home playoff game for the kids donning the brown and yellow, and they would go on to win over Athens 42-13. We're headed back to Strasburg for nominee 9. Tigers QB Brody Boffman can't seem to find a man downfield, so he's like, man, I'll just take matters into my own hands, and I really mean with his legs. Escaping the pocket, down the near sideline, and he is going to get ghost past that last defender, and he takes off 82-yard boot, scoot, and boogie for the touchdown to help knock off Lucas 28-14. And our final nom-nom could have been the final play of this drive, but a slick fake from Woodmore's Calvin Lipstraw opens up Michael Seeger over the middle of the field. Huge pickup on a 4th down, and you watch it again here. The fake toss freezes the linebackers, and Seeger gets loose to extend the drive, setting up their first score of the night. Those are your top plays from week number 11. Comment below right now for your favorite.
Yeah, get in your vote. Make it count ×2, baby. Make sure that you say top play and then the number that you want or the kid's name. We can figure it out if you were just like Caden Bish, top play, or Caden Bish, Phenom. You know, you get to kind of figure it out.
They're already
that way.
listening, too. I've seen top play in a number, Phenom in a number. So thank you guys for listening. Look at that. How cool.
You guys are
Simon
so trainable.
said Nate listened, so there we go. We gotta keep the votes up. We have a little more time left here in the podcast for you to get your double dip in, but let's move on and talk about the other football, the beautiful game that Taylor Huff won a state championship with, but we're not gonna have a state champion from the area this year.
No, not from Richland County this year, but we did have 2 teams competing for regional championships on Saturday, that being Mansfield Christian and Ontario. And we just wanted to salute both of those programs for some incredible runs, a lot of memories shared, and I called every Ontario match that they had during the tournament with the exception of the Columbian game to start things off. And what a career for this young lady right here, Hattie Jugovic. Her, along with Addie Pittman, they had a storybook run during the tournament in terms of what they were bringing as goal scorers. Addie had both goals in the game against Lexington. Here she is knifing between 2 defenders, and that kept her streak going. She scored at least 2 goals in every single game.
That's crazy.
Up until this match where she ended up scoring 1, but it was Granville knocking her off, ending their career. But Addie and Hattie, how about these numbers? 244 combined goals, 130 assists, and 62 wins. They are 2-time district champions. They are 3-time MOAC champions. Sasha Bolakowski as well in that senior class. Give a shout out as well to Kaylee Hale. And then who can forget about Cookie Caudill? It is going to be a senior class. It is going to be incredibly hard to replace. About 90% of their goal scoring is going to be gone because of that young lady that got the trophy and those youngsters right there. So they are certainly a group that has left their mark on the Ontario program. I had great times calling all of their matches. They low-key got robbed at the end of this game. Everybody in the chat section all agrees it's an absolute trash call to allow a PK with 15 minutes to go when they had the lead. But Jilly will be back next year, Jilly Grayson in that center backer role, and she'll get a chance to get even.
She easily touched the ball first.
Twice. Both feet touched it.
Both feet touched it, but the dude
trash.
Yeah, maybe this light shined on his head and he couldn't clearly see what the play was, but yeah.
16 wins though.
Congratulations, Elite 8. But congratulations also to the Lady Flames of Mansfield Christian. I mean, first time ever doing what they did under the stud man, Jesse Ryder, the legend, the GOAT as well.
Yeah, I tried to get him on the podcast tonight, but you know Jesse, he never takes a night off from coaching.
Oh, he's doing something.
He's signing up for 2 different basketball teams that he's going to be coaching, so he had to meet with the parents tonight instead of having a practice for a potential state championship run because Woodmore ends up knocking them off 2-0 in their regional final.
But look at this little celebration that they have too. They knew that this was a first for this school.
Yes.
And they were still very happy about being in the Elite Eight. As you see, running over, jumping, a little happiness. But they realized what they were able to do this year.
Yeah, I believe 18 wins for Mansfield Christian this season. That a program record and a lot of likable characters on the team. You know what's the most fun thing about this team? Unlike Ontario, that it's going to be interesting to see who emerges for that? Who's going to be their goal scorers? When you have 2 girls that have combined for 250 goals over their careers, you lose a lot on offense. They get Ryan Anderson back, who scored 40-plus goals this year. The rest of their lineup, and I know that I'm not trying to discount what these seniors did, and there's a handful of them, and they had some really good players. I've been following Mansfield Christian since they arrived on the scene, and they're going to have to replace a couple of studs, but the bulk majority of their quote-unquote stars are sophomores. So they get 2 more years with Jesse Ryder's kid, with Maya Rader, and a lot of the other studs that were littered throughout the lineup, plus a girl whose older brother was a pro soccer player. So I think Jesse's girls are going to be better in 2026, and this is just setting a new standard for them, getting to a place where they had never been before, bringing home a regional trophy. And you just could not be happier for Coach Ryder, that group of girls, a really good bunch just in terms of the human beings that they are. Now, I wish more of them would have signed up for my media classes over there, but we can get to that next season. I'm going to expect more of you to be in there so that we can get you some more media attention, I guess, in the media program there. But 2 awesome runs, and we just thought that it was certainly worth just taking a minute and just... Good job.
Well, also, some of those players on Mansfield Christian, did they not go overseas and win a international championship under head coach Jesse Ryder?
Yeah, they had at least one player, and Addie Pittman was on that team
Addie
too.
as well. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be sad. And my daughter, of course, a junior on Ontario's team.
Maybe she'll step up.
That's what I told her.
Come on, Aaliyah, gotta get back to work right now. Practice.
Yes,
get
hopefully
ready.
You're at home.
Maybe you're going to be
juggling.
in Ohio next year. Come on.
We're going to need one. We're going to need somebody to step up. But she said that she went out for lunch on Sunday, actually saw Addie Pittman out there, and that it was kind of like weird that they were both like, we don't have practice tomorrow. This doesn't feel right. And just kind of commiserated a little bit, but a lot of memories.
Thanks a lot, Ref.
Some great memories being made down in Columbus, too. So
not only did the Mountaineers win, but the Buckeyes, like you said, they got a big win over Penn State and a former DC of theirs.
Yeah, Jim Knowles returning back to the shoe, and the #1 defense in the country last year when he was the defensive coordinator. Guess what? They replaced him with Matt Patricia. We're way better on defense this year. They replace, I think, 4 guys that are in the NFL this season. Guess what? They've brought in some new blood, and they've turned the page, but into the new chapter of just more dominance. And I think that Penn State played with a lot of pride in this game. 4-game losing. Can you believe that they were riding a 4-game L streak into this one? Really weird scenario there. Cutting their head coach mid-season didn't make a whole lot of sense. He'll land on his feet. He will do some nice things.
There's some good openings, too.
Definitely there are. But for the Buckeyes, this is really what I kind of wanted to say. As you're watching some of these highlights, watch Julian Sayin and just the way that he puts these balls right where they need to be, deep, constantly over the top of the defense. Carnell Tate, a star yet again. He and Jeremiah Smith, they combined for 3 touchdowns in the game. That's the best 1-2 combination for a wide receiver in the country right now. But Julian Sayin, can we put some Heisman votes? Can we start putting his name on a little bit higher pedestal?
Give it to him.
316 yards. He only threw 3 incompletions against a Penn State defense that everybody preseason. God, Jeremiah Smith, though. I guess when you can just complete passes like that, is it really that hard? Of course it is. You're going up against a top-tier defense and Jim Knowles and the gang. He's really special, though. That combination, Julian Sayin, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I truly feel like Ohio State, if they keep doing what they've been doing, they should get real consideration for having 2 players be considered as Heisman finalists.
When's the last time it's happened?
Ever?
Ever?
Has it?
I don't know.
I doubt it.
Fun story just popped in my head. I actually walked right by where the Heisman's given. This official office of the Heisman building. It's on Wall Street.
Yeah.
Tried to sneak in with a friend when I was up in New York a few months ago, but we got caught. But yeah, the Heisman trophy's sitting right there too. I was feet away from the actual Heisman trophy, but yeah, I mean, if would they consider putting 2 of the same team on there? I know, I don't know. I mean, it's well worth at least looking into, but I don't
Jeremiah Smith's got 55 catches, almost 800 yards, and 9 tutties. Julian Sand right now, he's completing 81% of his throws.
That's nuts.
23 touchdowns, I think. Only 3 picks so far on the year. But you look at how well he drives the ball down the field. He and Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, they're not having to make spectacular catches. They're in stride, and it's just right there. He had 2 tough runs, too. I hadn't seen this from him in a game yet this year where he had to dig deep, take some contact, and pick up a first down going head first. I really think that this kid has not been talked about yet by anybody nationally in the media about being a Heisman contender. Let's get the man some love.
Especially if he steamrolls Michigan and then beats number 2 Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. Then you have to. And if he puts up big numbers, Smith continues to put up big numbers, I mean, why not give them both consideration for the Heisman Trophy?
Well, they're going to put up numbers. You look at the next few weeks here for Ohio State at Purdue this next week. Boilermakers aren't
No
your
holy
mamas
Buckeye
or your
needed.
papas. Boilermakers. UCLA, that game is at the shoe. They're starting to get
They
it going
beat
a little
Penn
bit
State.
with New Heisel.
Heisel's son, yeah.
I get it, but they're still they leave a little bit to be cherished on that defensive side. They haven't slowed anybody down really. And then Rutgers too, before that game against the team up north, where we do have to go to the big house. But over these next 3 weeks, they should continue to keep padding the numbers, more 100-yard receiving games, more 300-yard passing games, and I think that it's worth a consideration. And I'm incredibly biased. I'm going to have to look at the landscape of what some other guys are doing. But when you play for the number 1 team in the country, and you're the number 1 connection, and those two are probably the reason why we're in the position that we are right now, I think it's worth bringing up.
Oh, easily. I mean, he should at least get, like I said, the votes from Archie Manning that everybody said he was going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. At least get those votes into him right now after what he's been able to do. But, yeah, the Buckeyes are just on a roll. I don't know. Ole Miss, I mean, who would be the biggest contender for against Ohio State right now? I think Ohio State beats Indiana by 3 scores. But Ole Miss, one of the SEC teams, Georgia, I don't know. Georgia's not quite where they used to be. Bama's down. A&M, I don't know. The ACC teams just got knocked out that were top 10. Big 12, nah, that's in shambles. West Virginia's going to run the table and go 6-6 against some top teams, and they're not going to have a not so good representative like.
Yeah, I don't know about Bama
USF
being down.
Well,
they've lost the A game. But yeah, the fact that Ohio State and Indiana are 1 and 2 right now in the rankings, that is a true shame that we don't have each other during the regular season. That would have been a great head-to-head to kind of determine who's going to march on into the championship for the Big Ten. That would have been fun. But yeah, I think here I'm going to pull up the rankings right now. Bama and Georgia, Oregon too within the Big Ten. We've got 3 teams ranked in the top 6 right now.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is very exciting. BYU's undefeated, even though they've got a true freshman quarterback. He's very exciting. He looks like a fullback. Where's number 47, too? That probably is a big reason why. But yeah, Notre Dame's no slouch. They're going to have to run the table, and still no guarantee they get in since they've got the couple of losses. But a lot of premier players, too. So it's going to be a really fun last month of the regular season. And with the new structure of how they're doing the college football playoff, I do really love that just because you lose your conference championship game, you're not dead anymore. You can do what Ohio State did. Hell, we didn't even get into the Big Ten championship game, and then we get in, and we were easily the best team in the country.
Well, I think if it's Ohio State and Indiana, both teams are getting into the playoff. This is probably for they'll be for the number 1 seed.
Yes.
The other one. I mean, now that they took away the top 4 seeds being conference champions, that may be a 1-4 for the seeding, is just the way those 2 teams have been playing. But I just Ohio State, they're just really good. It's like Shelby to me. Like I don't see them slipping up at all here in the next few weeks.
No, they certainly shouldn't. And I'm glad that you brought up high school football again, Travis, because I want to end the podcast
a big
today
announcement, with
a bit of a PSA and some exciting news for us.
Yes,
because
very
fans
exciting.
of the OH.Report, what happens to us the deeper that we get into the football playoffs? Typically, that's right. NFHS comes in, they take the broadcast, and then we have to put it out after the fact.
Yes.
So, with our new partnership with the NFHS, I am incredibly proud to let you guys all know, because the comments come in and there's usually a lot of folks that are a little upset that OH.Report didn't get to do the NFHS game. Why did I pay $10? And then it was some guy that didn't really know a lot about the team. Guess what? It's us now. So the games that you get to watch starting next week, we do have a couple this week that we're working on, but NFHS, them and Spectrum, they get to decide all of the games. So we're just 100% going to partner with them, and they have a great business model now where I don't feel like people are overspending.
Nope.
You only have to put in your credit card information once, and you get 2 full months of all the games that you want to watch on NFHS Network, which includes live OH.Report games
and games
on
we
Friday
never had
night.
before. Remember, once we got to the regional semifinal round, we could not show you anything live. It was just a restream on the OH.Report. Well, guess what? With the NFHS, we'll be live on the NFHS, but don't worry there. We also will show the restream on the OH.Report. So if you guys still want to wait, you don't want to spend your money, that's fine, because we will still be free on our restream. So you're getting the best of both worlds, honestly, because some people said, well, we would gladly pay the $10 or whatever it was to watch you guys and then watch it back. Well, now you can. If you want to spend the money and watch it live, we will be the ones bringing you the game. But if you don't and want to wait until afterwards, we're still going to bring it to you free. That's how cool this is.
Yeah, so it's only $10 and you get a 2-month subscription. We don't get a nickel of that. However, I think it's great value instead of the pay-per-view model that they used to do. So you can watch all of the games live, and then, like Travis said, on our Facebook and our YouTube, we are still going to restream them for anybody who does not want to sign up for it. And plus, it means that they are up there forever. So all the memories that you want from these big-time playoff football games, they're going to be available for infinity on our OH.Report pages. So very excited that finally we get to be the ones providing the live broadcasts, and had a great phone call with NFHS today, and they're very excited to partner with us because you've seen the products over the last several years, and they've gone out of their way to call up some of the best live stream companies in the state of Ohio. They feel like we are one of them, and they want us doing the games for them. So that's what's going to start happening. Again, we're going to have 2 of them this week, but then starting next week, so we're just, all of our games are going to be on NFHS for every single week.
It's the same
unless
as
Spectrum's
It's
there.
the same as each year in the playoffs, but now we can be assured of having every game. Now, remember with Spectrum and everything, we weren't able to do certain games. Now we're NFHS, where the NFHS had the game. Now we're able to be in at our local teams' games and be able to bring you that restream as well, because there were some teams that we were unable to and just did a highlight last year or in the years before. Now we can assure you of having these games.
Yeah, pretty pumped about it, and I hope that you guys are too. But that's gonna be it, Travis.
Yeah.
We gotta move on to a big week here on the OH.Report. We didn't talk any volleyball tonight because you and Jonathan Langdon, you were gonna do that on a special edition of the block party if you want to fill the people in on what they can expect.
Got some interviews with some state Final Four coaches lined up. I mean, we got Kendra Snook of the Monroeville Lady Eagles. I was able to, while we were talking, Lori Rombach of Tiffin Calvert. Those 2 teams may meet in a state championship match. Everybody wants that. We'll be talking also, I believe, the Buckeye Valley's head coach, as well as the Pleasant Spartans, Miss Coach Ute. Yes, that Ute. With Doug Ute as the OHSA commissioner, but Miss Ute as well will be talking to us, and then we'll have everything breaking down for Thursday. We'll have the semifinals with Monroeville and with Calvert. That'll be a restream, but an audio cast as well, Mr. Skoronsky?
Yeah, we're going to have the live audio cast for you guys. And starting next year, I know there's a long way down the road, but per my conversation today, we will then start having the live videos for you for state volleyball and for state soccer. That is the goal here on the OH.Report. I do have some state semifinal soccer coming up for you guys this week. As a matter of fact, we are going to do 3 games, maybe even 4. I'm going to be on the call tomorrow night. The Granville team that knocked off Ontario, they're back in action, and they are taking on Bay over at Clear Fork, so you can hear me on the call for that one. And then a big game, Division I is coming to Clear Fork on Wednesday.
Yeah.
St. Charles and St. Ignatius are going head-to-head, and we're partnering with NFHS for that one. But those are going to be live and free on our Facebook and our main YouTube, so you don't got to go anywhere else but right here, and you can watch those. And still working on a couple of other games right now. We got some irons in the fire, so even though our local teams are no longer available within the state championship run, doesn't mean that our coverage is over. We're out here for you, the fans, to make sure that you get all the best coverage. But for now, for tonight, we're done. That's enough with the podcast. See y'all.